Hey everybody, welcome back. Showboat is a pain point for me in Titan Takeover. So I'm constantly just looking for somebody who can do about 1.5 billion, so I can turn over to one of my other cards that I'm a lot more comfortable with. zPenta, I personally never liked for Titan Takeover because I couldn't reliably reload the Mexican Destroyer here, which is typically how people run into in Titan Takeover, and you can absolutely get more damage than what I'm about to show you running it this way if you have a reliable way of reloading this, and that would be a Ring Royalty Plate or um, Purple Rumble would also do it. You could also probably use a Break Yellow Get Purple MP Plate, the first position on your belt, and that would most likely do it as well. You go through two finishers and you'd have the Destroyer already loaded. So there are ways to do it. I'm out of plate swapper currency though, and I'm just desperate to kind of investigate what else I can do with zPenta here. So let's take a look at his reinforced setup for Titan. And this is a no frills kind of setup here. I'm using Julius as my number 2 so I can catch a little bit of the gems do 5% more damage tag team bonus. But that's about all I really need here. Year of the Zombie, if you put a 25 zombie as a tag team, he starts with plus 5 MP, but you don't actually need it. Plus 5 MP is not going to be enough to really be able to get you into 2-click territory, and you have enough time where you can use one turn, one action on the bite, and still be okay. And the bite here, increase your yellow MP by 10, is only a 3 MP move. So a 2 MP trainer will absolutely have this loaded, and the rest of it you can load up on gem damage. So that's what I did. Sling Bite, deal 866,000 damage, make 49 randos into reinforces. And the Sierra Muerto, deal 2 million damage, increase your yellow gem damage by 90% for one turn. And then finisher, make 49 randos into yellow gems. This is a pretty simple move flow. It turns into basically a 2-click after you use the bite once. For the entourage, I'm using nothing but yellow and reinforce trainers. Alexa is really kind of key here. Green moves start with 2 more MP and reinforced gems to 100% more damage. It's almost as if she was built for zPenta's reinforced setup. This is all you need to get her loaded turn 1. 2 here, 1 for being yourself. This is a 3 MP move. You click it, increase yellow MP by 10. 5 chunk. And then everything else is gem damage. So Zombie Sammy here, yellow gems do 30% more damage, reinforced gems do 60% more damage. And then I've got Hall of Fame Yoko for reinforced gems do 100% more damage. If you don't have Zombie Sammy, gem damage is okay, all right? But when you're looking at the difference between reinforced gem trainers and like individual color gem trainers, you have to realize that this is only going to affect it once, right? So a reinforced, when the chain link goes on a gem and it breaks once, it'll have this 100% damage. And then the second time it breaks, it won't. But this is effectively the same as yellow gem damage at 50%. Okay. So this is effectively the same as reinforced gem 90%. So when you're looking at the difference between yellow gem and reinforced gem, that in the back. Sammy does both. Also kind of perfect here. So we'll just leave him. Over with the belt, I am running 150% gem damage and Fury 3s, and I have my substats cranked up as high as I can possibly get. So we are at 598% yellow gem damage. Now, of this 598, 200 is the metal here. So we're really at 398. That's still significantly more than any of my other gems. other than red, and that's the bulldog plate. Okay. I am using the yellow reinforced gem. I figured this is one of those plates that may just be sitting in your inventory that you don't have equipped on somebody. Whenever you make 6 or more reinforced gems, increase your yellow gem damage by 200% for 1 turn. And then I am running the Bulldog's bracers here. Whenever you generate 10 or more reinforced gems, increase your yellow gem damage by 25%. This is here because this is the only plate that really makes any sense. Nothing else really makes a ton of sense here. I think this is the only first position reinforced plate there is. This plate doesn't deal with yellow gems at all. You know, no traps, no subs. I probably could put a gem chucker out there, so maybe not use this move set and use the break yellow through purple. Or this one here, the Booyaka plate. Okay. I also have the moment, but it's not maxed. So gems are doing 22% more damage, and yellow gems are doing 22% more damage. 44% buff is not all that much. When it's maxed out, everything turns to 50%, so it's 100% gem buff. Again, not a huge amount of damage increase, but every little bit helps when it. He is hype level 3. Important to note, he is level 390, and he does have full. And the only move I have maxed over here is the finisher itself, to get as much of the yellow gem buff as possible. Let's play it out and see. I'm calling it a win if it's 1.5 billion or above. That's really all I'm looking to get out of any of my showboats at tier 5. Again, I'm not very comfortable with any of my showboats in mode. Is what led me down this little rabbit hole. So let's keep track of Taker's health here. Start clicking through. Here comes the meat and potatoes of the build. Here are the reinforces. This procs the yellow reinforced plate and the barber's plate. And the finisher is going to buff yellow. Then everything is going to be pink. And then it's just going to be rinse and repeat. We have 2 more actions. We have 2 moves that we can do. Reinforces the finisher, then the turn. The Titan doesn't really mess up the board all that much, but we don't really care about that. This moveset is not one where you're going to want to carry anything over to the next turn. I did test that out at the end of turn 2 going into turn 3, and I found that just clicking the finisher again instead did more damage. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So since we're already loaded, we're just going to go back to the move flow. The most annoying part about this Titan is the freeze gems. Sometimes those are pretty tricky to actually get rid of. Doesn't like we're going to do it this time. There's one. Need a crack in the armor. If we can get a green down in there or the wild card in there, we'll eliminate 2. Increase our damage output by a little bit. Reinforced gems are doing 1.5 million. That's pretty cool. So all of the buffs are still active. This is what I was talking about. You could click reinforce here, and then when you get into the next turn, you could hit the finisher, but all your buffs are going to be wiped anyway, right? So I think we've stacked the finisher twice already, and then we've activated the yellow reinforced plate twice. So that's 400%. Barber's Bracer is giving us an extra 50. And this is 180% of activated move buff. So everything on top of it gets bigger. That all is gone. And we're only going to be able to cycle this twice at the beginning of next turn anyway. So I found that it was actually better to go ahead and paint the board yellow one more time with this action with all the buffs, and you can do that again at the tail end of next turn. For reference, our yellow gems are doing 1.8 million apiece now. This is part of why carrying the reinforces over to this turn also doesn't work. That just pops the reinforces. It leaves the gems underneath it, but it leaves a number of usable reinforced gems. There's not enough to really matter, especially when you could just click a finisher full of 1.8 million yellow gems. You can already see over here in the HP, we're doing just fine. I'm pretty good. Other reinforces out there again. The other thing that got me thinking about this moveset is in the most recent feud, I did run across a bunch of pentas, and instead of using the multiply gem setup like I thought most people would use, I saw a ton of the reinforced setups. I thought was pretty interesting. It's not a bad setup by any means. I think purple hit or the multiply moveset hits harder, but it's not necessarily saying that this one is bad. Again, 1.8 on the yellow gems. Click the button. And that's 1.82 billion. That's not bad. That's not bad for a category that I'm personally weak in. I'll absolutely take that. In order to get the platinum chest, I just need Julius to do 1.2 billion. Julius can do 1.2 billion, especially coming in loaded. And I ended up grabbing his gear with silver hangers to buff up his multiplied. Cool. Cool. There are other ways I'm sure you can set this up. I'm not entirely convinced that a yellow rumble wouldn't be better than the yellow reinforced plate, but it is a commitment of a yellow rumble plate on zPenta, which it makes sense. I mean, yeah, sure, he's perfectly set up to have a yellow rumble plate on him, but you have to make the decision to do. I like this because it does take advantage of lesser used plates. You could even swap straps, right? Just keep a reinforced strap hanging around out there with these two plates and run Penta a different way if you want to. I'm not sure exactly why you would, but you could if you wanted to. Maybe if you also have a reloading problem with the purple move. Anyway, at this point, I'm just rambling. If you've learned anything today, if you've been entertained by anything today, or if you just like the sound of my voice, do me a favor, click like, click subscribe, share to your faction mates, and I'll talk to you next time.